If you're not sure if your dog is listening to your commands, there are a few things you can do to improve their behavior. You can help train them to look at you and avoid using negative reinforcement. Avoid negative reinforcement. If you want to ensure that your dog will listen to your commands, you should avoid negative reinforcement. Using negative reinforcement can be effective. However, it can also be dangerous. That's why you need to hire a professional dog trainer. Positive reinforcement, on the other hand, is a good way to train your dog. It consists of adding something that your dog enjoys to what he or she already does. This can be a treat, petting, or time spent with the owner. Negative reinforcement is the opposite of positive reinforcement. The latter consists of taking something away from your dog. A good example is the anti-bark collar, which stops your dog from barking. But a bad example would be giving your dog food. To use negative reinforcement, you have to get your dog into the right frame of mind. If your dog knows that you will reward him or her when the correct behavior is performed, he or she will be more likely to perform the behavior. Likewise, if your dog knows that you will punish him or her for a behavior, he or she will be less likely to repeat the behavior. Getting your dog to listen to your commands is not impossible. Often, it's a matter of using the right timing, distractions, and cues. You can call your dog with a yell or use a trick to catch his or her attention. Regardless of the method, consistency and repetition are essential. Using the correct techniques will help you stop your dog from performing undesirable behaviors. Punishing the wrong type of behavior will only make your dog more likely to do it again. And if you're trying to prevent your dog from chewing on things, you may have to resort to physical punishment. Regardless of which method you choose, it's important to avoid negative reinforcement when possible. Using aversive methods can cause your dog to develop a fear of the object or stimulus that you're using. While it's not harmful to your pet, it can lead to behavior problems and even bonding issues. So, you should only use this technique if it's truly necessary. Get your dog out of the environment. If you have a dog and you are not sure if he is listening to you when you are out of the house, there are many reasons that this can be a problem. You can start by getting him out of the environment. Dogs are natural animals that are prone to distractions. Objects, wildlife, and people can all get in the way of a dog's ability to respond to commands. However, a dog can learn to respond to commands even when there are more distractions. If you have a small backyard, you can use this area to train your dog. Using a fenced-in area is another option. This will allow you to control your dog's off-leash activity. Leaving your dog outdoors can pose a lot of hazards. He may be exposed to a variety of chemicals and other dangers. Additionally, dogs can suffer from heat stroke and hypothermia. Ensure that your dog has access to water and shade if he plans to be outside in the hot sun. Another common problem with dogs is that they do not respond to basic commands. You can teach your dog to come and to stay by working with them. When your dog is ready to listen to you, use a simple command such as come. Do not expect your dog to perform in front of a large crowd. When you are working on commands with your dog, you need to focus on a few commands at a time. There are many other distractions that can disrupt your training, so be patient. The more you focus on the basics of obedience, the easier it will be for your dog to respond. While you are working on your dog's obedience, don't be afraid to engage in play. Playing with your dog is one of the most rewarding activities for a dog. Use treats and toys for extra rewards. If your dog has a hard time responding to commands in a fenced-in environment, you might need to take your dog out of the environment for a while. Having a fence helps protect your dog from wild animals and ponds. Verbal praise and belly rubs. If you are trying to train your dog, you need to remember that dogs learn through their bodies, and the use of verbal praise and belly rubs can help you ensure that your dog will listen to your commands. However, you need to ensure that you use the right body language and the correct tone of voice to get the best results. To start with, you need to learn what gets your dog excited and what motivates him. A happy dog is more likely to be responsive to you and will be a better listener. You can choose from a variety of reward systems. For example, food and treats are a great way to reward your dog. Belly rubs are a fantastic way to bond with your dog. Dogs are usually happy to see you and will happily respond to your touch. They will even close their eyes in pleasure. However, you need to make sure that you do not hurt your pet. The next time your dog is curious about something, try holding a treat in front of it. This will teach your dog that you want him to look at you. Once he looks at you, give him the treat. You can also teach your dog to whistle. This will help him when you need him to come to you. It's important to have a loud and high-pitched tone when you whistle. When your dog hears the whistle, he should run to you. Repeat this routine several times until your dog is completely trained. You can use your dog's name as a command, too. Saying your dog's name is the perfect way to make sure that your dog obeys your commands. Do not be afraid to repeat this routine in different rooms. Remember to never kick, hit, or scratch your dog. Always follow the rules of dog obedience and never punish your dog for a behavior that you do not know is wrong. Otherwise, you will end up with a dog who is not interested in training. While it may seem like the old-fashioned way to teach your dog to sit, there are some benefits to this. One of these is that your dog will remember the last time you told him to sit. Train your dog to look at you. If you have a dog, it's important to train it to look at you when you give commands. The training process isn't difficult. You just need to be patient, consistent, and make sure your dog knows you want him to be at attention. Dogs are very easy to distract, so you'll need to be sure that your environment isn't too noisy. For example, you could use your pet's toys to distract him while you're at work. It's also important to make sure that your dog isn't distracted by people. Some dogs are easily tempted by people passing by on a walk. Whether your dog is playing with a friend or a child, you can distract him by telling him to look at you. When teaching your dog to look at you, you'll need to start off with a quiet place and treat him whenever he looks at you. Once he has mastered this, you can move on to more distractions. But don't try to scare him. Instead, use valuable treats that will entice him to look at you. Next, you'll need to add a verbal cue to the command. Use the word look and point towards an interesting object. After the dog looks at you, click and reward him. If you're not comfortable using treats, you can use an object with a squeaker or rattle to catch his attention. Just hold it close to his face, but not so close that he can eat it. You can also tell your dog to come to you when you hide something. This can be done with a ball or toy. While you're hiding it, you can stand quietly with a helper. He can call your dog's name and wave it in the air. Your dog will then have to look at you before he can get the ball or toy. Finally, you'll need to keep your dog's shoes in a safe place. That way, he'll always know that he can't get in trouble by putting his shoes on the ground. Don't forget that eye contact is a very important command, and you should continue to practice it as your dog's skill level improves. With patience and time, your dog will be able to respond to your commands, even in distracting environments. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, please be sure to like and subscribe. Your support really helps, and I appreciate it. I hope that you have gained valuable knowledge about your dog's behavior and how you can set aside time each day to practice training and keep the sessions short and sweet. Feel free to check out our training in the description to further your understanding of this concept. Thank you for joining us today. See you on the next one.